Welcome, curious minds. Today, we're plunging into a case that truly embodies the relentless march of time against, well, the unwavering pursuit of justice.
Yeah, it's a story where a small-town nightmare, one left unsolved for decades, finally cracked open.
And thanks to the most unexpected people, really, this isn't just about a crime, it's about the deep scars left on a community, the extraordinary persistence of a few individuals, and maybe the surprising power of unspoken suspicions.
Absolutely. We're diving into the enduring case of Mandy Stavik, a young woman whose murder back in 1989 cast such a long shadow over her community. What's so compelling here is how this story challenges that idea, that time inevitably buries the truth.
Right.
Instead, it shows us that some truths, no matter how deeply hidden, can indeed surface. Often through the quiet, consistent efforts of ordinary people, we'll trace the initial tragedy, the frustrating cold trail, and the surprising, almost accidental turns that finally led to a resolution.
Okay, so let's unpack this. Picture Acme, Washington, back in 1989. This was a place where apparently doors stayed unlocked, where everyone knew everyone and that sense of safety was just inherent. But that idyllic backdrop was shattered when Mandy Stavik, a promising 18-year-old college freshman, disappeared.
And she sounds like she was really something.
Totally. Her basketball coach, Jim Freeman, remembered her with a smile that reached right at your soul with eyes that say, "I love life." She was number 13 on the court, a cheerleader, top student, even aspiring to be an airline pilot.
Wow.
Her mother, Mary, put it perfectly, saying Mandy wanted to be the best at everything she did, and she was. Her sister, Molly Brighton, called her larger than life, all that vibrant promise. She's
Yes.
just gone.
So tragic.
The day after Thanksgiving, November 24th, 1989, Mandy went for a jog with her German shepherd, Kyra. The dog returned, but Mandy didn't.
Oh, no.
Her mother's panic quickly spiraled into this massive 3-day search, led by Detective Ron Peterson.
Okay.
It was Peterson who ultimately found her body floating in the South Fork of the Nooksack River, wearing only her running shoes and socks.
Oh, no.
He later shared that as he lifted her out, feeling a profound shock as a father himself, he told her, "I got you, Pearson." The community was utterly in shock, feeling an assault on all of us, a palpable loss of innocence.
You've painted such a vivid picture of the community's shock, and rightly so. But for the investigators on the ground, what were the immediate practical hurdles they faced in those crucial first days? I mean, with such a deeply emotional case.
Yeah, good question.
Beyond the sheer horror of it, there was that urgent question. Would a killer strike again? And that really ratchets up the pressure.
For sure.
Detective Kevin Bowie, who was just a rookie deputy then but later became lead investigator, he meticulously pieced together Mandy's last known route.
Right.
His belief, which kind of formed over years, was that she was abducted quickly, probably by someone with a weapon, maybe a gun and a vehicle. It was too fast for her to escape on foot.
Okay.
The assailant allegedly kicked her dog into a ditch, sexually assaulted her, and then after she clearly fought back, there were scratches on her arms and legs from blackberry bushes.
Ah, evidence of a struggle.
Exactly. He hit her in the head, knocked her unconscious before placing her in the river to drown. Now, here's a crucial piece of foresight. Detective Ron Peterson, who was newly trained by the FBI in DNA recovery.
Oh, lucky timing.
Very. He insisted Mandy's body be removed from the water with extreme care to preserve evidence, and his training paid off hugely. The autopsy confirmed male DNA, specifically semen, indicating a sexual attack.
So they had DNA right from the start.
They did. But despite this key evidence, tips poured in, only to lead to dead ends. A local drifter, David Succi, and Mandy's boyfriend, Rick Zender, were quickly ruled out by DNA.
Okay.
Over 30 local men volunteered DNA samples, but none matched. And that's how, for 25 years, the case just went cold. A dark cloud hanging heavy over Acme.
25 years. Just imagine the weight of that. Mandy's mother admitted she didn't have any hope the case would ever be solved.
You can understand why.
Detective Kevin Bowie, who became the lead investigator, he certainly never gave up, meticulously scouring files. But the real breakthrough, the kind that changes everything, it came from a place no one expected, miles away from police headquarters or dusty case files.
No way.
And here's where it gets really interesting. June 2013. Heather Backstrom and Marilee Anderson, both Mount Baker High graduates, they find themselves chatting at a water park watching their kids splash around.
Just a normal day.
Totally normal, completely out of the blue. Another mother brings up Mandy Stavik's name. And in that moment, something just clicks for both Heather and Marilee, who barely knew each other.
Wow.
Heather recalls turning to Marilee and saying, "Well, I'm sure I know who killed her."
Just like that.
Just like that.
Right.
And Marilee almost simultaneously turned back and said, "Oh, I do too." They both named the same man, Tim Bass.
Whoa. After all that time,
Yeah.
this really gets to the core of how cold cases can simmer beneath the surface of a community for so long. It's not just about shared experience, but that silent social contract in small towns,
Yeah, the pressure.
The immense pressure to conform, avoid making accusations, even when your gut feeling is screaming otherwise. What made these women finally speak up after all those years?
It's a great question.
In a small town, accusing someone without absolute certainty was, as they put it, a little scary. Both women had never discussed their concerns with anyone in the community, not a friend, not family, because of the weight of that. But together, away from home, in that neutral, unexpected space of a water park, they found the collective courage to voice their long-held, deeply unsettling suspicions.
And their stories, they explain a lot.
Yeah, when you hear their stories, you understand why those suspicions festered. Heather's disturbing encounter was in the summer of 1989, just months before Mandy's murder.
Okay, so close in time.
Right. She was 15, and Bass, then in his 20s, sat next to her in a friend's truck after a softball game. He talked about her beautiful eyes and in this really creepy way rubbed a pen along her knees while she wore cut-off sweatpants. She remembers being very nervous.
Creepy is right.
Then Marilee's story, even more chilling. This was July 1991. Bass knocked on her door, claiming his phone was disconnected after hunting. When she handed him the phone, she heard that telltale beep, 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 we're sorry. The disconnected tone.
So he lied to get in.
Seems like it. He then just walked through her kitchen to her bedroom, saying he used to drive by our house and that he had always been in love with me and wanted to make love to me right then and there.
Oh my God.
She was terrified, threatened to call the police, and he eventually left. The critical missing link that emerged. Tim Bass lived less than 2 miles from Mandy's house, right near her running route.
And police hadn't considered him?
Police hadn't looked at the Bass household earlier because the family was apparently well-liked in the community, a factor that tragically kept them overlooked for decades.
Wow. So suddenly, police had a name. Tim Bass, a man who'd been living this quiet life nearby, married, 3 kids, driving a delivery truck for a bakery, no criminal record.
Seeming the average guy.
Pretty much. But the next hurdle was getting his DNA. When police paid Bass a visit and asked about Mandy, he feigned ignorance at first. Said, Mandy. Oh yeah, she was a girl that they found on the river.
Not exactly convincing.
Not at all. Investigators clearly felt they were being played. I mean, who could genuinely forget Mandy Stavik in that community?
Right. Impossible.
When they asked Bass for a saliva sample for DNA, he flat out refused, stating, I watch those crime shows. I see how many people go to prison because they've given DNA.
Not exactly an innocent reaction either.
Not really. So with official channels hitting a wall and Bass openly defying them, the investigation stalled yet again. They put a surveillance team on him for 3 months, following his bakery delivery route, hoping he'd discard something, anything, with his DNA.
Like a coffee cup or a cigarette butt.
Exactly. They followed him all night long sometimes, but nothing. No luck.
So police hit that wall with Bass's refusal. What unconventional avenues did they have left? This is where the human element really shines through, isn't it?
It really is. Police decided to reach out to Kim Wagner, Bass's boss at the Franz Bakery.
His boss, okay.
Yeah. She described Bass as weird, explaining that you just never knew what Tim was going to be at work that day. She noted his low regard for women. He always called her woman instead of Kim, and that the smallest thing would anger him.
Not a great picture.
No. As Kim chatted with investigators, she pretty quickly grasped what they were really after. She directly asked, well, you guys want DNA, don't you? And then she offered, I can get it for you.
Wow. She just volunteered.
She did. For 3 months, Kim kept this vigilant eye on Bass. Even started emptying the garbage daily herself, hoping he'd discard something with his saliva.
That's incredible dedication. And a bit nerve-wracking for her, I bet.
Totally. She admitted later that her gut said it was him, but her heart said it wasn't because I just didn't really want to think that we were all betrayed.
Understandable.
Finally, she saw him throw away a plastic cup and later a Coke can. She described it as game time and a jackpot. She immediately grabbed them, put them in separate bags, labeled them, and gave them to police.
The smoking. Well, the drinking cup.
Exactly. 3 months later, the state crime lab confirmed it. We've got a match. Detective Bowie described hearing those words as the biggest thing that's ever happened to me. Tears flowed. The DNA matched Tim Bass.
Finally. after almost 3 decades.
With that definitive DNA match, police finally had their man. On December 12, 2017, 28 years after Mandy's body was found, they confronted Tim Bass as he was leaving work.
The moment of truth.
When questioned, he initially denied any relationship with Mandy, even asking, why would your DNA be inside her? He was arrested on the spot, kidnapping, rape, murder. As his partner cuffed him, the detective stated, "You're under arrest for the murder of Mandy Stavik." Bass's only response, "Who?"
Who? Still playing dumb.
Right. But that same night, after his arrest, Bass's story began to shift. He still claimed innocence, but then offered a consensual affair with Mandy.
Ah, the fallback defense.
He described it as more of a friendship type thing that grew into more of a physical thing, mostly kissing and stuff, not even that much.
That's a stark contrast, isn't it? DNA proof of contact, but now this new claim of consent. So, what was the prosecution's strategy? How do you dismantle a defense suggesting an innocent reason for critical evidence like DNA?
Yeah, a tough spot.
Prosecutor Dave McEachran, who actually came out of retirement unpaid for this deeply personal case, argued forcefully that Mandy was kidnapped, she was raped, and then she was killed.
Straightforward.
They systematically highlighted the inconsistencies in Bass's story. His initial claim of not remembering Mandy, the complete absence of any evidence of a consensual relationship, no witnesses, no calls, nothing to suggest a secret romance.
And the physical evidence.
Crucially, they pointed to the scratches on Mandy's body. Those strongly suggested she was fleeing or fighting, not engaging in consensual activity.
Makes sense.
The defense tried to introduce doubt, of course. They called Dr. Elizabeth Johnson, a forensic expert, who testified the semen could have been deposited up to 48 hours before death, suggesting a wider window.
Trying to muddy the waters.
Exactly. But the prosecution countered with their own expert, Dr. Gary Goldfogel, who was the original medical examiner from 30 years prior. He firmly disagreed, stating his findings were consistent in all regards with rape, then killing, then drowning.
So, expert versus expert.
And then there was the family testimony. Incredibly powerful and damning against Bass. His ex-wife, Gina Malone-Ass, justified she divorced him after his arrest and his claims about Mandy, described him as controlling, emotionally abusive throughout their nearly 30-year marriage, said she felt like she went into a prison.
Wow.
She also revealed he had asked his own mother to lie and blame his deceased father for Mandy's death.
Exasperate.
And his brother, Tom Bass, testified that Tim had told him he'd slept with Mandy decades ago, then incredibly asked Tom to lie to police, claiming Tom had also slept with her, to make it look like she got around.
Trying to smear Mandy's name.
Exactly. Tim even asked his mother to provide a false Christmas shopping alibi for the day Mandy disappeared.
The defense must have had a hard time explaining that.
The defense attorney, Shoshana Page, ultimately tried to rationalize it, argued that even innocent people, when they're under that great weight of suspicion, can do things that can be interpreted as well. Only a guilty person would do this. And they kept emphasizing that DNA can only tell you that there was contact, and evidence of sexual contact is not evidence of rape.
Trying to separate the DNA from the act of violence. Okay. After 9 grueling days of trial, the jury finally began deliberations. For Mandy's family, the hours felt like an eternity.
I can only imagine.
It was clear the defense had planted some seeds of doubt. One juror later mentioned the thought that, teenage girls can sneak out at night. Maybe there was a secret relationship.
So the consent argument had some traction.
It seems so, at least initially. But after just over a day of intense deliberations, on December 14, 2018, 29 years and 6 months to the day Mandy Stavik was killed, the jury delivered their verdict. Yeah. Timothy Forrest Bass was found guilty. Murder, rape, kidnapping. For Mandy's family and the entire community, the profound relief was just almost unbearable.
Oh, finally. That brings us to the profound impact of finally achieving justice, even decades later. What's truly fascinating here is that ripple effect, right? Not just for the family, but the whole community.
Oh, that's silly.
Bass was sentenced to the maximum allowed under the law at the time, nearly 27 years in prison. Prosecutors, strategically, didn't charge him with premeditated murder. They were uncertain they could secure a conviction on that specific, harder-to-prove charge.
They wanted the conviction they could get.
Exactly. The judge, in his sentencing, addressed Bass directly, said, "For 30 years you have lived free from the responsibility for your acts, but that life has been a lie, and tragically it has caught your family in its web."
Powerful words. Didn't Bass react?
He maintained his innocence, even in court. Said, "I'm 100% innocent of this crime, and I don't believe I received a fair trial." But beyond the courtroom, some lingering concerns remain. Bass's brother, Tom, now wonders if Tim could have had other victims. Maybe even Heather or Mara Lee. He reflected, "You sometimes think we're lucky to be alive."
Chilling thought.
And Kim Wagner, the bakery boss who got the DNA. She really articulated the broader impact, credited the village and the whole community, along with the sheriff's office never giving up, for finally solving the case. She believes the community can now feel safe and be whole again.
A sense of closure, finally.
And for Mandy's mother, Mary, who once thought she'd never see justice, Bass's sentence finally gave her some solace. She said, "Definitely closure. I feel after all they've got the guy that did it."
What an incredible deep dive into the enduring case of Mandy Stavik. From a small town's shattered innocence to the relentless pursuit of justice across decades. This story really reminds us that every detail, every conversation, every, gut feeling can matter. It underscores how the weight of silence can be lifted by an unexpected moment of shared courage.
This deep dive truly underscores how the human element, those quiet suspicions, the protective instincts of a community, individual acts of courage from unexpected sources, can be just as potent, maybe even more crucial than advanced forensics in these decade-old cold cases.
Yeah.
It really challenges the conventional view that only official channels deliver justice. Sometimes it takes a village, quite literally.
So consider the extraordinary role of ordinary people, those water park moms, the bakery boss, in cracking this cold case. What hidden truths might be waiting for an unexpected moment, or maybe an unexpected conversation, to be revealed in your own world? And what impact does a community's refusal to forget truly have on the pursuit of justice decades after the fact?